So this is a short tips and tricks video to highlight one of the most common methods in creating documentary poetry, the copy and paste method. Before I get into that, I want to talk about a couple things. One, non-literary documents. So your assignment requires you to combine two non-literary documents, one human, one public, as well as original verse. Simply put, non-literary means a document that was not intended to be art. So literary would be poetry, song, lyrics, fiction. Non-literary would be the documents that we've been looking at. Letters, journals, newspaper articles, magazine articles, etc. So the idea is to take these non-art documents and create art from them. So we're doing two things. We're creating poetry where poetry didn't originally exist, and that poem itself also becomes a document, a historical document. The other thing that I want to address is creativity. This assignment can only give you the basics. I'm only asking you to include these things because there has to be some kind of foundation. But what you create is really left to your creativity. It's limitless. So ultimately, the things that I supply to you in the PowerPoint and the readings, those are only giving you a foundation, examples of what others have done. This video is going to do the same. So in this example that you see in front of you, chapter 34, negative numbers, I've used two documents as well as original verse. The two documents are actually outlined in this little blurb underneath the title. And they're, very simply, I have one document from online, which is about tattoos. Though that document is highlighted with these all caps, as you can see here as I'm highlighting them. I found that document here while I was searching tattoos, and it's a court document, and I just simply copied and pasted lines that I felt were interesting. As you can see, the title is also based on that as well. The other document that I use is very little. It's actually this line right here in quotes, and it's from a documentary film about the Holocaust, Memory of the Camps. There was a section in that movie that talked about how they tattooed the Holocaust victims for identification purposes. So those are the two documents that I used. On top of that, the original verse itself is actually inspired by the documentary film. It talks about the Holocaust victims being tattooed. And then it goes into ideas about it being a film and taking pictures, etc. That's it. You actually have a human document already from your first assignment. Here's an example of using the tattoo interview. This is a poem that includes the tattoo interview as well as original verse. The original verse in this case is also inspired by the interview. So it's about tattooing and this girl who got faith tattooed on her hip. As you can see in the quoted areas, this is the document being pulled directly from the interview. And then it's used again and again. If you've noticed so far that the first poem uses both public as well as human documents, the second poem that I just showed you uses just human document. The interview itself is a human document. So one thing that you have to understand is though you are required to use these documents within the poetry, you do not have to use them in all of the poetry. You can pick and select how you do that. Also you have to look at, there's white space being used. This poem itself has a lot shorter lines. It's a little bit longer, has stanza breaks. This poem is a lot shorter, uses a lot more white space. Both of these count as a page. Now notice I didn't use any images as well. You can add images. You don't have to have images on every page. They just need to be incorporated somehow. In this case, if you wanted to add an image to this poem, you could maybe just copy and paste an image from the film and put it into here, and then you have your image. Oh, they're coming down here. And fix it when you get there. Hopefully this short little tips and tricks video helps you along with the process of creating your documentary poetry. And good luck with your project.